What's up guys, Jeff Chevalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. So today I want to show you one stretch, one simple thing that you should do every single day. I know, sounds like a lot, but it's going to be really quick and easy. That is going to improve your posture, I guarantee it. And all you have to do is have access to a door frame, right? Now, let me ask you a question first of all. When you wake up in the morning, do you ever find yourself sort of doing this, right? Stretching out, and it feels good. If you do, and I'm one of them, then it's your lats that are crying out for help. And you're probably thinking to yourself, lats? You're going to stretch my lats as a main postural fixer? Yes, because your lats are actually one of those muscles that get overlooked in terms of their detrimental effect on your posture when they're tight. What they'll actually do is they will internally rotate your shoulders. They're internal rotators. And when we get internal rotation of our shoulders, we also get this kind of compensatory thoracic kyphosis, this rounding of our upper back. That's not good. We want to fix that. So the problem with the lats is, if we're forgetting about them entirely, is that we can't. The only way we can sort of address them is we have to attack them specifically with a specific stretch, because in order to do that, you're going to have to get your arms way up over your head. And if you think about it, how many times are you actually doing that? I mean, when you're sleeping, your arms are at your side all night. Unless you sleep like this, you're a strange bird if you do. But if you don't, your arms are tight all night. That's why you're doing this sort of thing. You don't get that during the day. Maybe you stand up because you're like this all day. You stand up and you do this, kind of stretch out your chest, or you try to stretch out your low back. But none of it's going to directly affect the lats unless you learn to get your arms way up overhead purposefully. So what we have to do is we have to sort of attack these in a very specific way. And I'm going to do that. I want to show you with a muscle marker what we're talking about, because when we understand this, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to conceptualize why we're doing what we are. Jesse?
Yes.
Welcome.
Oh,
do you need an intro? Okay, go ahead, intro.
All right, perfect.
Satisfied?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so now, with that being said, what we need to do is we need to draw some points. We know that the lat actually comes up here, and the reason why it's influenced by the arm is because it actually attaches on the arm. So up in the arm here, just going to just draw a little bit of a landmark. And then we also know that it has an attachment on the bottom of the shoulder blade, the inferior border of the shoulder blade. So when Jesse marks that out, okay, now what do? We want to take those points and move them further away from the other points of attachment, which are down here at the iliac crest, which is around your pelvis. You can feel it. And then it attaches to all of the vertebrae in your lower thoracic spine and lumbar spine, meaning right down the middle on something called the spinous processes, and Jesse started mapping them out. So if we have those points of attachment, then how would we want to stretch this? Well, first of all, before you even do this quick little test for me. Stand like this and raise your arm up as high as you can. No, don't force it, just raise it up as high as you can. All right, well, I want to assess, and I want you guys to see just how quickly this will work. See how high your arm gets up over your head here. Now, some people will be able to get higher than I can, but even those will find an improvement here in your ability to get more mobility out of your lats. All right, now, with that being said, I have to take my arm and position it here in this door frame. Again, I mentioned the door frame because in a previous video, something I told you you'd benefit from doing every day, I said hanging from a door frame or a bar, and the door is going to be very beneficial. So you can just add this to that by utilizing that door frame for a different purpose. You take your elbow and you actually lock it in place on the door. You put it up as high as you can, and then you sort of lock it in. As I drop my pelvis down, I'm going to see that my arm really can't go anywhere. Now, if I bring my arm up, obviously the point that was on my arm is getting further away from these points down here. In addition, as I bring my arm overhead, I get rotation of the scapula, so that inferior border there is getting further away from these points down here. So I get two birds with one stone. Now, how would I impact the position here of my pelvis? How can I get that further away from these 2 points? Well, I take this leg that's closest to the wall and I step it back behind me this way. Now when I do that, you can see that my pelvis has dropped and dropped further away from these points up here. So now the last thing I have to do is I want to see if I can get those points that were on my spine even further away from here. And I can, if I look at these spinous processes here, if I turn my body in that direction, you can see they're heading off in this direction, further from the points that are over here. So as I get in this position here, up, drop the pelvis down, then rotate towards the wall. I can feel an intense stretch here, the best stretch I'm going to get on my lats. Now, the best part about this is I don't stop there. I don't believe in just stretching point A further away from point B. If we can do something about the tissue quality in between those points, we have an even better opportunity to make a change in one of those quick, instant changes I'm talking about so that your posture is instantly improved. We can do that because we have a free hand. We can actually grab hold of the lat in this position and really just sort of try to manipulate it back and forth a little bit. Really trying to sort of almost work the tissue, kind of squeezing in here. And what I'm doing by squeezing is, you can see I'm sort of making this tight structure a little bit more pliable. Just trying to push in and manipulate this way, okay? Obviously it can be a lot tighter when I'm already in place in the stretch. But I do that here for 30 to 45 seconds. Again, on both sides. Now, when you step away and you go to raise your arm up, I'm expecting a great improvement in how high you can raise that arm up. What happens? We're not just getting more flexibility through that lat, but by doing so, we're not getting as much of that rounded internal rotation that was caused by the tight lat, but then we're getting a release of that tight upper thoracic that was getting pulled down like this. So we instantly get more upright, way more mobility in this direction, and it looks a hell of a lot better. Guys, it happens because our body always functions as one single kinetic chain. Things that are tight down here can feed all the way up to your fingers if you allow it to. You need to realize that all these things are connected, and just focusing on the major things that get addressed in postural corrections, like the pec minor, is not necessarily going to complete the picture. And as you just saw, if you don't really address this specifically, there's no way that you're going to get this to be as loose as it should be. So I like to work it into a quick thing that you do every single day. Like I said, 30 or 45 seconds on each side. Once is probably fine, twice if you really have a problem, and that's where we go, guys. So if you're looking for a complete postural improvement video where we talk about some of the other hot button areas, I'm going to show you how to do that. We actually have a video, I'm going to link it at the end, that shows you how to do this in 4 steps. In the meantime, if you're looking for a program where we address posture, posture matters. It sets us up for proper form in all of our lifts, and it has big implications on how we develop our bodies. We need to address it. I do that in all of our programs. I build it right in as a physical therapist. They're all available at ATHLEAN-X.com. In the meantime, if you found the video helpful, leave your comments and thumbs up below. Let me know what you want me to cover. I'll do my best to do that for you guys in the days and weeks ahead. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you click subscribe and turn on your notifications so you never miss a video when we put one out. All right, guys, see you soon.